Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Let's hang out. And let's talk about what lessons about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to 2 lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Hang Out, the podcast where we can build this world together, making gay stuff better. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
I always love when you sing for an intro.
I gave you the
So
choice
beautiful.
and you chose the musical one, Ellie,
Yeah,
so
so I asked for this.
it
You're
had to
welcome.
happen.
You're welcome, everyone else.
From the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. To those of you who have been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. We are still in our Season 5 Patreon campaign. We want to thank Allison Parr, Ashley White, Mel, and Brian McCullough for joining our Patreon recently. If you want to join them, you can do that at bit.ly/lespatreon. As a reminder, once we get to 125, we will release a patron-only Q&A episode. And at 150, we'll start doing some more monthly bonus Les Essentials episodes.
With all of our thoughts on all the movies we haven't had time to do on Los Essentials yet, we've got a lengthy list.
We have a
Listen.
lot of thoughts and not enough episodes to say our thoughts in. So please join our Patreon so we can share our thoughts. We also, in the greater Les universe, want to talk about Season 2 of Hentified. We just had Clarissa Tebow on the podcast. She will be on a future episode. But when we were talking to her, I realized I didn't even know Season 2 was out. And I love the show. So I want to let you know Season 2 of Hentified is out so that you can watch it. And if you haven't seen it, watch Season 1 and 2. It has some really great queer rep.
And speaking of things you should be watching if you haven't yet, listen, we are recording this a little in advance, so we have not had a chance to watch it yet. But if you are listening to this, it is now Monday, which means the season finale of Yellow Jackets came out yesterday. And from, speaking here from the past, I think we just have to hope that, maybe we have some answers to some questions that we've all been wondering all season long. That's what I'm hoping. So listen, future us and future all of you. I hope that it was amazing, and I
You got the
cannot wait to watch
answers
it.
you need. Yes.
I hope we got all the answers. I'm excited to watch it. But if you have not watched Yellow Jackets yet, what are you waiting for?
Watch it.
Just do it. Listen, it's got your fave and ours, Jasmine Savoy Brown. You know that we cannot and will never stop talking about her.
I swear to God, she's in every one of our this week.
She's in a lot of them. Yeah, well, she's doing all of the things
a
right
lot.
now.
She's doing a lot. Yeah.
Listen.
Also, it has already been renewed for a Season 2.
Yes.
So we can breathe a sigh of relief of watching something and knowing it's not going to be canceled for the next season. So dive in, knowing that you will get another season as well, which makes it a little easier to watch too. In completely unrelated news, but just something that I found Googling lesbian news, dolphins have clitorises that they use for lesbian sex. So,
well, naturally.
The article was cracking me up the way it was phrased. It was dolphins are doing some interesting things with their clitorises together for lesbian sex. And I'm
I love clickbait headlines. It's great.
You go, dolphins. The more you know.
And tell me about this last
Yes.
point you put
Okay,
up
so
here,
there's
Ellie.
also, this is just a little celebrity gossip. Aisha D, who was on The Bold Type, and Lucy Grace Barrett have been sparking some rumors lately from some steamy pics on their Instagram. So we're not quite sure if they're dating, but it does seem like they might be dating and they're hinting at it. So if they are, we're very happy because love Aisha in The Bold Type. And Lucy Grace Barrett is also in Charmed. So we got like all kinds of gay TV energy just like thrown together in this.
Love
So
it.
we're hoping for the best.
If anyone can confirm or deny, let us know.
Let us know. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee. We are so excited to bring you episode 10 of season 5, Collabor-GAYtions. Try saying that 5 times fast. I bet you can't. And we have some exciting guests here that I'm going to let Ellie introduce because there's been some craziness with the bios.
I've been waiting all day to introduce these guests. We are here with Alicia K. Constantine and Christina Pupo, 2 of my favorite people that I met at Klexicon. And they are here with us now. For those of you listening, Alicia K. Constantine is a storyteller and independent producer who is tired of Hollywood gatekeepers and determined to make everything gay. We are very much here for that.
Yes. We're also joined by Christina Pupo, who's a first-generation Cuban-American screenwriter and director who once sent a letter to DreamWorks pitching her sci-fi thriller and who wrote her first official screenplay at the ripe old age of 9. Amazing. I want to know about the sci-fi thriller, though.
So do I. I don't remember.
You gotta have notes. What if someone steals it?
I mean, they probably did already. Let's be honest.
I'm like, what's a DreamWorks sci-fi thriller? Like, they just took one of yours.
Right.
Yes.
Justice for Christina. Hashtag justice for Christina. We're going to get it trending.
Oh,
Let's
boy,
get it
please
started.
Do not.
Give her the royalties, DreamWorks.
Oh, God.
Please. Well, welcome, friends. It's so good to see you again.
Yeah.
We are so happy to have you here. We are going to be talking today about Collabor-GAYtions, as Lee said. This was one of the panels that I was moderating with Alicia and Christina at Klexicon, which was all about Klexicon collabs. So I want to start our episode. You guys have the cutest meet cute of anyone, of any platonic creative couple I've ever met. So can you please tell us the story of how the 2 of you met?
Christina, would you like to start? I feel like I always start the story.
Do you?
Yeah, I feel like I do. You
Oh,
should
boy.
start it. I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
From my perspective, yes. Both Alicia and I had never attended Klexicon, and this was 2019, the before times. And I had never been to a con of any kind, really. I think, Alicia, same for you, like no
Same.
con experience. And so we were there both for this thing that Klexicon was doing for content creators, just different panels about writing and all this stuff. And at the end of that day, they had this mixer where you're supposed to, I guess, just come up to people and introduce yourself and talk. That's the goal. But me being the incredibly awkward person that I am, even with copious amounts of vodka sodas, I was still feeling really self-conscious. And my approach to socializing was to just there were all these movie posters around for some reason in the room we were in. And I just went around reading each movie poster, like looking at and just be like
Out loud or in your head?
No, like kind of to myself, like if I was like curating this, I don't even know what the intent was, but I'd go up to each and just be like, who produced that? That's very interesting. Just like that's what I was there for. Like they brought me in to kind of critique these posters. So bizarre. And thankfully, Alicia, who was just way better at this than I was, she came up to me and started a conversation, like a normal conversation, like a real human. We got to talking about just, like filmmaking over here, some short little kind of blurb that you gave and whatnot. And then just over the con, we kind of kept running into each other. And there were just a few formative situations that happened that I can't mention. But just basically, Alicia saved me in a few social mishaps, and that really bonded us. And, by the last day of Klexicon at the Ascension party, I basically ended up kind of telling her my life story, as you do, of course, at a party with loud music. And she was like, oh man, there's a story there. We should make the story. That's the story, like, that you should be focusing on. And by the end of the con, we went to a diner, like we worked through how it would be. And she's like, I want to produce this with you. And so I somehow came to Collexicon with nothing and left with everything.
Oh, stop it. That was
so
wow,
cute.
really
That's so
nailed the
sweet.
landing there. Just
Do you see that story the same way, Alicia? Like, what are the parts that you could fill in that?
do you remember Christina reading movie posters is what we all want to know here.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you start reading them?
You know
what? Yeah. Were you both critics?
I remember she was standing at a movie poster. I didn't know that that's what she had been doing the whole time before I got there.
Oh no.
I love this so much though.
And the only reason I went up to her is because I actually did like research on how to like approach people at a con. Like, how do you walk up to people and just start a conversation? Because that can create a lot of anxiety. And that's how I deal with my anxiety is I research the hell out of it. So that's the
we should
only
be
way.
friends.
She was like the second or third person that I approached in that room. And I only went up to her because we had like said something very briefly to each other earlier in the day. And you know how they say when you meet somebody once, the second time around, now you already know that person, so it's easier. And that's literally why she was the next person that I spoke to. Everything else is pretty much the same. I can't wait until we're rich and famous enough that we can tell the secret story.
I know. I want to hear the secret story.
It's so
Damn
good.
it.
It's pretty good.
One day
Are
we'll
you going to make
tell
a
it.
film? Maybe one day you'll make a film about the secret story, or
I mean,
not?
Yes.
It
One
could
day
be
we
worked
will.
in. It could be worked into like an episode of something, I'm sure, like everything else in my life does.
Can you actually tell us a little bit about your first collaboration, Out in Love? You sat at the diner and then it magically appeared.
I'll say this. When she told me this story, I was, in my mind, I was like, why isn't this, like, why aren't you already doing this? Because the story in and of itself is so phenomenal. It sounded like a television show as she was telling it to me. So I was like, this is, in my mind, it was a foregone conclusion that this was going to be, it was going to be a something. It was going to be a something that existed in the world. So we were like, yeah, we're going to do this. And then we each went back to our respective cities.
Sorry, can we quickly clarify what the story is?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Like, people don't know what the story, I know what the story is, but they don't know what the story is.
Yeah. So Out in Love, a married couple that after 5 years of marriage, both realized they're pretty gay. And just the two of them basically just figuring that out and what that means and how they can navigate that together.
And this is a true story. Like, this is your story, correct?
Oh, yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Can you imagine a writer telling you their story and not acting like it should be a show? Because that's what was happening at the diner. She was like, "Yo, this is my life. Like, this is what happened." And, and we both realized we were gay and so on and so forth. And meanwhile, I'm eating pancakes. Like, what?
They were really good pancakes.
They were.
That's
That's
what I
my
was
favorite
thinking.
place to eat. It no longer exists.
I know. That's sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
So then
But-
we each went back to our respective places. Actually, no, there was a detour in Los Angeles.
Right.
There was a detour in Los Angeles where we met up with the actress from my very first short film, Jory Burgos. And
Who we love.
that's how like the little trio became connected. And she did so much on this project. It's actually ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous how much work Marjorie put into it. Like, it wouldn't look like it does. She did the production design and she did wardrobe as well. So yeah, linking up with her, she was like the go-between basically between me being in Seattle and Christina had just moved to Los Angeles at that time.
And honestly, so really the way we made things happen with us being apart and now it's so common to do Zooms and things like this where you guys are all over the place and it's no big. But at the time, it was still new, at least to me. I had never had like a long distance working kind of relation or any relationship really. But anyway, and so we were using Skype, right?
We were.
Yeah, we were using Skype and we'd text, we'd email. I started a draft And then we would kind of like Skype and give feedback about it back and forth. The first drafts were, like hot garbage, of course. And
They were
it
not.
just kept, they were so bad. Oh my God. Anyways, this is not about me in that part. And so we would just kind of like go back and forth talking about the script. And then it came to a place where we were like setting, okay, well, what are our goals? Even actually as the first draft started, like, where are we taking this? And we decided it would be a nice bookend if the whole goal is to be able to premiere this at the next ClexaCon in 2020. We basically had a year to write the project, shoot the project, get it into the film festival for ClexaCon, and premiere it in April of 2020. And that did happen. I mean, the premiere went a little differently because we all know.
Why did something happen?
Right. Spoiler, things kind of changed. But yeah, we set that in order to make that all happen, we'd have to shoot first week of November.
And I'd say we made that goal before we left Vegas.
Yeah.
We made that goal in the diner.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even remember saying it.
Right.
I don't remember things a lot of the time. She's like, yeah, you said we're going to make it and get into ClexaCon, and then they're going to invite us back as panelists.
Well, you know what's the funny? Yeah, you said they're going to invite us back as panelists, and then we'll talk about it. And all of that happened. Oh my gosh. But the funny thing is that when we set that date too, I thought that was like waiting too long because I'm crazy. I was like, really? A year later? I was like, no, let's do this sooner, but fine, I'll wait.
Have you done something like that before where you like pulled a project together in less than a year? Is that like what you're used to doing?
I'm used to a lot, but I mean, I feel like, well, before Alicia, I mean, the kinds of projects that I had done were, like web show type stuff or little things where I wasn't working with a big enough budget to really have too many hurdles. I mean, and honestly, when we started the idea of Out in Love, we did not know what the budget was going to be, what anything was going to look like, how we were going to pull it off. There was just nothing. It was just mystery. And through a series of fortunate events, by reaching out to different people and collaborating and all of that, that's how it actually came together. But I think there's a power here. And this is kind of, a big point of why we talk about collaborations. I had never done something of that caliber that I'm so proud of until I met someone like Alicia who could help and have complementary strengths to mine so that we can really make something that we're both proud of. I had so many projects that were just kind of waiting, like on hold or scripts I couldn't finish. But there's something to like when you find that someone who can see your vision and help you on that end and bring something new to the table, it just reinvigorates you. And then you suddenly want to take over the world, which we will. So.
Sound familiarly?
I wasn't thinking anything like that to myself at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, nothing at all. But I agree, though. I mean, Lee and I met 5 years ago, or over 5 years ago we met, but we started this podcast 5 years ago. And it was similar too, where it's like, I've always been like a creative person, musician, all kinds of stuff. And it's like, you have a million projects, a million things going on. And like finding a collaborator who, I'm not sure if the two of you are like this, but I feel like there's like at least with Lee and I, there's like the dreamer and the realist. And when you put those together, we actually can make something like pretty wild. Right? Is that the same with the two of you?
I mean, or like ish. Because I always want to add new projects.
Yeah.
Christina doesn't stop me.
I think we're both dreamers, right? I would say Alicia's more practical than I am in the sense of, again, with deadlines that make sense and things. I'm like we'll do it all right now. Let's start. We're doing it. It's happening. But at the same time, she doesn't shut it down in me either. So I don't know. We're kind of a bit of both.
Well, I mean, that's the same, right? Like,
right.
We wrote an entire musical. Like, I was like, let's write a musical. And Lee's like, yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, why
but
not?
like, how?
But, right.
Like, and that's, I feel like, the thing that you need, right? Of like, okay, but what are the steps we need to take to get to that goal? Like,
and Alicia is that person.
I love what you're saying to me, but like, how about we make it happen in like actionable ways? Yeah.
Well, and I think it's getting at something else too that I know like we talk about a lot, Ellie, with the two of us, where it's like we have both done a lot of things in past creative endeavors. Group projects do not always involve like everybody being as invested or committed. And I think that like sometimes it's not just about like everyone you have to have the buy-in, because like I feel like that's what you're saying, Christina, when you're like we're both dreamers. There's the having the goal and the dream and like seeing it happen, but then there's like the different strengths that you bring in terms of like what you kind of bring to like the team in terms of actually getting there. But I think that like the foundation of any great collaboration to me is just being like, oh, look, another person who like wants this to happen and cares and is committed to doing it. And I see that as like, it's a very separate piece for me from just being like, I have a thing, I want to make it happen, you know, like there's a commitment bit that's important as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think anytime someone can share your vision, that's also rare. It's a rare find, because I know most of my life, people told me, find a writing partner, find someone to collaborate with. It's not like I was a stranger to the idea of this, but I would always say, but who? Because, you know, in my friend circles, I didn't know many creatives. And even if I did, like, you know, we were just very different styles of very different types of people. And you know, I knew writing partners, and, you know, I was like low key jealous, but I'd be like, sure, you have something wonderful. Awesome. But I think even then I would always just be confused of like, how does that work? How do you both not get into arguments about a concept, or, you know, how do you work together creatively and see the same things? And so to me, it was just something that I thought I wasn't going to get. I don't know. And so, yeah, but there is something when you find that where you're both getting excited about the same ideas, and, you know, and obviously you're going to disagree sometimes and whatnot, but like, just, you know, like what you both are saying, it's just, you both are dreaming about kind of, oh, we can do it. There's a yes and instead of a shooting down. There's a let's keep going. Yeah.
I think for me, it was really important understanding what I wanted out of a writing collaboration. Because I would say previously, I thought I wanted to write in the writing collaboration. And that's where I went wrong. Because yes, I do write, but I don't actually really want to write. Granted, I am writing some things now, but it's not my preference, right? So what works really well about our collaboration is that Christina writes. Like, she's actually going to sit down and do the work of writing, and then I can have the conversations about the writing and the story and what's working, what might not be working, and how can we make it better, and so on and so forth. And I feel like that's the special sauce for us in how we collaborate on the different projects, the 100 million projects that we have on our slate, you know, and it just works for us at that basic level. We want to make the same type of stories, number one. And then the way we want to go about the stories in our, what is it? Collabor-GAYtion? Is it?
Yeah,
collaborating. Yeah.
The way we're collaborating, you know.
I think it's going to be in Merriam-Webster any day now.
Any day now. You know, it just works for us just because what she's really good at is like getting it done. She wants to get it done, and I want to be like, here, this is how we're going to get it done.
Right.
And then everybody's happy.
I love it. How do you find that though? Like, if you've been looking for, like, if there's someone who's listening to this who's like a creative person and they're like, I wish I had that. Like, how do you find it? How do you know like what to look for?
This is so sounding like love matchmaking.
I know. You know, literally as I was thinking about
Do you have an app is what we're asking.
Well, because I just realized, like, remember that, who was that? Like the $1 Million Matchmaker or something? There was like some reality show. There was this matchmaker woman. And I'm like now seeing this like sketch in my head of it relating to collaborations.
Yes.
Because it's true though. It is very much about like chemistry that you have with someone and just, looking for the same thing. It is kind of like
It is
dating.
like dating. Yeah.
So-
Like, are you compatible in
Right.
certain ways?
Yeah.
We always say this. Like, I will say it again. Lee, you know what I'm about to say. But if you look on CoStar, like, do you have CoStar? Do you know what it is?
the
I know what it
astrology
is.
app
Yeah.
thing, right?
So for like astrological compatibility, Lee and I are compatible with everything except for sexually. And we're like, this is perfect. This makes sense. Like every one of our signs are compatible, but like it literally is that, right? It's like, where can you find that like platonic compatibility? Like it is a compatibility chart of sorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
See, and we know that because Ellie forced me to download CoStar
I was
and
also,
run my compatibility
this
with
was like
her.
years into our collaboration, and I was like, if we're not compatible, like I think this is it. Like I can't.
And
if
sometimes a
CoStar says
perfect
then I
partnership
have to go.
is just an astrology gay and someone who's willing to entertain the astrology gay. Listen.
Yes, I know. We should come up with like a Venn diagrams of like different types of people in collaboration.
Right.
Are you like an astrology gay or a person who downloads CoStar for an astrology gay?
Right.
Christina is the astrology gay in this partnership.
And did you download CoStar for her?
I feel like
I
I've
have
just
an
been
Android.
outed.
I have an Android, not an iPhone, so CoStar is not available to me, unfortunately.
That's bullshit.
Or you're not available to it.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's okay. You do not want to open that bag of worms, just in case. Just in case.
No, but
What if you're not
it's-
compatible? You'll never know.
I feel like the thing is, Ellie, I almost feel like there's no answer to this question, and I know we're just going to make you both answer it anyways.
Perfect.
But because I think I love this because as someone who also just sort of like tripped face first into like the ideal partnership, I am this is so
That
exciting.
sounded dirty. I'm so sorry.
How did that sound dirty?
I think it was the face first. I'm gonna venture to say that's what it was.
Face first.
Not that face
Part
first.
felt a
wasn't-
little
I don't-
weird.
Okay,
sorry.
I
Continue.
tripped.
Continue.
What part of my body would you prefer forward?
All right,
That
fine.
makes it worse.
Face is fine. Yeah. Everything else is worse.
Shin first.
Tits first. I don't know. It's fine.
We are not sexually compatible listeners, is what we're getting at here.
All right, but continue. I'm so sorry.
My point being, we just, the stars aligned. Is that better for you? How's
Yes.
that? Okay.
It was destiny. It was fate.
It was destiny, it was fate. But there are things that I think became apparent to each of us quickly in terms of like why we worked so well together and like that this was just going to work. And I'm curious because obviously there has to have been some of that sense for the two of you. And I'm wondering what those things were for you two, like when you left Klexicon and, kind of like started out in this relationship, like what were those things? Like, what were the things that jumped out at you as like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be something,
I don't really know how to explain it other than it's the same way when you meet people who are going to be your really good friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just know that instinctually when you start talking to someone like, oh, there's something here. We need time to explore it and figure out if what I'm feeling is real and can this friendship be real and last. But I know any of my great friends that I've met in my life, you always know immediately. You don't really, it's not like, oh, I grew into this friendship. I didn't know from the beginning that we were going to be down for life, No, you generally know like, oh, no, this person could be a person that's going to be in my life for a long time. And I feel like you can't really explain or quantify like what that feels like, because if everyone is going to have their own different experience of how they recognize that sign when they're meeting somebody new.
Well, I'm going to say a couple different things.
Oh, I love it. Fight.
Like friend fight. We're going to tell each other how amazing we are. So for me, two things happened. A, I knew at Klexicon that Alicia was brilliant. And I knew this because we were part of this like content thing that Klexicon was running for like writers and whatnot. And they did this like pitch fest thing where we were like pitching ideas. And I remember like doing chit chat with Alicia beforehand, like, oh, did you do your pitch? Did you write it? And she was like, yeah. But then I changed it last night. I don't know. Like, I just remember this moment. She was like, kind of like, she didn't really tell me the pitch. But it was like, we kind of chatted, and then day comes and she goes up to do her pitch, and it was just great. I remember the room was just like, oh, that's perfect. It's hilarious. And it was a story that she didn't even want to write, which I thought was crazy because she doesn't like to write comedy usually, just straight comedy. And, it was just something she just came up with, but it was like perfect. Like the way it was written was just so like, I could already see this on TV. And I'm like, damn it, that girl's good. And I was like, and this was even before we had like bonded over like the out in love stuff. Like this is just already from the get-go. So already I knew one thing. This person is creative. I like where their head's at. And, they're just brilliant. So second fold was then the fact that we were at a party and just talked for hours. It wasn't, I don't even think we started dancing till like the last maybe half hour. We suddenly were like, so maybe we should enjoy this like party a little bit before we go. And we're like, yeah. And it's like, okay, now we're going to dance for a bit till like, we close down the dance floor. But the whole like hours, because you know how long that Ascension party is too. Like hours.
Also notoriously quiet. Great.
Yeah, perfect spot to chat.
I mean, seriously. And here I am just like, and we were talking and Alicia was listening. And like, I felt like I had known Alicia my entire life. It was such a weird feeling because I tend to be a private person. So it's not like I'm going up to any stranger and just being like, so do you want to know about my failed marriage? Let's talk. That doesn't happen. So I was telling her everything. And it wasn't even, I can't even excuse of like, oh, I was drunk, because I wasn't even really drinking much because it's so expensive. And we were just, but that bonding, like Alicia was saying, like you just know like this person's going to be your friend, but it's twofold for me because like that's the collaboration part too, of just knowing like, I already know she's brilliant and now she's also my friend. Oh shit. Like, this is about to be crazy. So I knew since then, and I feel like there was a lot of trust that we both had to just put into this. It was a leap of faith. Because Alicia, you didn't even know if I could write.
I was so relieved. Because I just went off of vibes alone. I did not know anything.
Dangerous.
Like I didn't know if she could act, if she could direct, or if she could write. But I had like attached myself to making this project happen. And when I got the first draft, like she's going to say like, oh, it was terrible or whatever. When I got that first draft, I was so relieved. I was like, oh, okay, I can work with this. Like we have something here that we can build on and make a thing out of. I don't know what would have happened. If it was actually not a good draft. I mean, we would have got it there. Eventually. But like, I was so relieved that she actually is an incredibly talented person. And that was just starting from the writing aspect. Then I was like, well, can she act?
Right.
Thank God. Yes.
So many leaps of faith that you took. Like literally, why?
But it's a vibe thing. For me, it's all about the vibe. Like, and I trust myself, and that if my spirit and my soul is saying yes, then I'm just going to follow that yes. And we'll see where it goes. Even if oil didn't become a thing, I feel like we would have been friends regardless. So, the friendship is more important than the creative partnership. They exist together, certainly. But if I had to make a choice, obviously the friendship comes first. So once you know that, the rest, you can work the rest out.
So I guess the question is, are you like an astrology gay or a vibes gay, or is there another one we have yet to uncover?
We're going to uncover many.
I'm super excited.
I'm a spiritual gay. I'm a spiritual gay.
Ooh, there it
Spirit
is.
Gay.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yes.
I love it. I think, like, speaking from my own experience with Lee, I completely agree about the vibe check for us, I don't know if you even remember this, Lee. I mean, you were there, so you probably do. But there was this. We went to this convention, and like we had a lunch with my girlfriend at the time, and it was like me and Lee and Carrie, my ex. But after that, there was this time when we were all in a minivan. Do you remember that? I don't know.
We were in some.
It might have been the second year.
I think it was the second year
we went to the thing, but we were in a minivan.
Was it when Sarah Yude was in the back?
Yeah. And someone was in the trunk, and Lee and I, like, it was a dead silent car. I feel like, except for me and Lee, like, and we were just like going, like, we were like, oh, have you seen this show and this show? Oh, and like, I love the representation in this, and like, we're like going back and forth about all this like gay shit that we love.
Listen, to be fair, it was a totally quiet car because I think everyone else was. Well, most of the other people in the car were straight.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just,
so it's just the two of us.
Ellie and I talking about
like,
endless gay shows,
super
like
gay,
and like niche
like,
queer web series, like.
Love it.
And I just vividly remember just being like, I was like, we probably, like, this is probably rude, but I don't care. I was like, I'm so into this conversation right now. So, like, our minivan was like the equivalent of your ascension.
Nice.
You know, like in a space where like you're not supposed to be having this moment.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, we're going to have it anyways. Here we are.
It was dead opposite of your ascension at decibel level wise,
Yeah.
but otherwise very similar.
Yes.
It's a very loud party, everyone.
Right.
I cannot stress this enough.
Are we going to talk about someone being in the trunk, or
We couldn't all fit in the car, so someone had to sit in the trunk. It was like a hatchback, kind of.
Okay.
So they weren't like closed.
Okay.
They were
an adult in the trunk.
We're not trying to turn this into a true crime podcast.
Consenting person, just kind of with their head popping up from like the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
Not the safest, probably.
They are
I'm
still
gonna
alive,
say, but
just so you know, yeah, they are living and breathing in the trunk. So it's okay.
She did have a lot of pillows back there with her, so I think there was some extra safety.
I think it was comfortable. Yeah. But we had a moment, and then I think after like when we started to work together, I think what Lee has talked about before like really resonated with me as well, of like, I think for us at least, like, we're both overachievers. I would like self-identify like we're just like the kid in school who was like doing the most, right? And like, you know, like always like doing the leadership positions and like taking on too much, which like as you get older you're like, I should be taking on less, right? But like to find someone else who like is used to taking on some things, and you're both like, okay, we like to take on 100%, but the two of us together can take on 50% each. And I'm like, wow, I'm doing so much less work, and yet like so much more is happening.
Right.
And it's like so exciting to be like, wow, I can ask someone to do something and like trust that it will get done.
Yeah.
And like that I think is like a lot of the weight with like the commitment levels that you were talking about, Lee, of like, how committed are you to actually like doing the tasks that you have said you were going to do? Yeah. And then also like, are the tasks that you want to do compatible with each other, right? Like you said in your writing partnership, like it's like, okay, well, here are the things I want to do and here are the things I don't want to do. And this other person wants to do all the things I don't want to do. Like, it's a miracle.
Or even just can't do. I mean, like, you know, we talk a lot, Ellie, about like the beautiful complementary skill sets that we ended up having in relation to each other, which I think is important, you know, because it's like, yeah, you can have two dependable people who are like both committed to the same project, but like if you both do the same thing and you don't have anybody who can do the stuff you can't do, you still can only get so far. You know, you have to be able to kind of each bring all of the necessary pieces to it for it to get anywhere.
Alicia and I always joke that together we'd be like the ideal specimen. I mean, like it's all the complementary stuff. Like, you know, like we'll have moments where like, yeah, and you do this and I'm good at that and you're good at that. Man, as one person, we would crush it. Like unstoppable. Just
Siamese twin.
The world's not ready for such power. It's good that we are split apart, you know?
Yeah, and that is our superhero origin story. That'll probably happen.
Or villain.
A year from now, we see you at ClexaCon, like you're literally merged, and I'm like, oh my god, you did it.
after a lab accident.
Every step you take, just electricity crackles around you, you know?
Finally did it.
Right.
Amazing.
Shows getting greenlit left and right. Like, it's insane.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I'm here for it. I can't wait to see that. Or if you don't do that, make a movie about it, please.
Right. Of course.
And then you get like the special effects CGI to get the two of you together. That's great.
I want to ask about something else too, because I'm so curious. I am also really fascinated by, as someone who, as Ellie mentioned, like always was the overachiever, doing the most, like getting super invested in stuff really fast. I feel like a lot of creative people have been that person in their lives, you know? And so sometimes early on in these collaboration partnerships, I think there's a really natural hesitation to like not want to come across as like too much, too invested, too excited, you know? And I'm curious, like, in those early days, like, how did you both navigate that in terms of like you're trying to feel out, like, am I too excited? Are they also excited? Is this a real thing that's happening, or was this just like we were drunk and said some things and like let's leave it? This what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You know, like I'm curious what that felt like for both of you in terms of like taking those early steps.
I was not actually the kid who did the most and did all the things all the time. I was the kid who was smart enough that I didn't have to work that hard and was happy to coast by. And that didn't change for me until I went to college. And I was delayed going to college because I joined the military first. And then when I went to college, you know, I became a different kind of student and I just wanted to do well. And that's when I ended up learning that I hated group projects because other people would not work as hard as I was going to work on it. That kind of kept me away really from collaborating with other people in other spaces because it's like, who's going to want it as badly as you? Right. The first short film that I did, I ended up in a situation where, you know, the person who was meant to direct it was not as invested as I was. And when things were falling apart, that person was nowhere to be found. And so I ended up having to direct the film myself just because I was like, well, nobody else is going to do it. Like, I guess it's on me to get it done. When I met Christina, I don't think I felt any kind of hesitation as far as like God. who is more excited. Like at that point in my life, I had decided, right, shit or get off the pot. Either I'm going to be about this film stuff or I can just keep my day job, go get a pension and call it a day. So if I'm going to do it, then I have to do it. So once I made that decision, once I decided that, okay, there's something here and we can work together, there was no need to hold back on my enthusiasm or my excitement because like we're both excited. We're still extraordinarily excited about the too many things that we're currently doing and keep adding to.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/letshangout today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/letshangout.
Let's hang out.
You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Streaming December 12th on Peacock. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie are back.
That's hot. Loves it.
For a show-stopping reunion that will prove putting on an opera is anything but simple.
We're really good at this.
One thing's for sure, they won't be upstaged.
Good to have you back.
Come on, we've got a show to do.
Paris and Nicole, The Encore, a 3-part reunion special, streaming December 12th, only on Peacock.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. 2 guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're 2 dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
To the plate.
I mean, I think for me, so I feel like I did a lot in school, but never school related. I created my own school where I would be writing movies in class and casting my, like telling people, we're going to get picked up. I swear, I'm going to send this letter to Hollywood, guys. We're all going to go and shoot this. And, no one paid attention.
Sending your pitch to DreamWorks at age 9. Yeah, sure.
Right. And, or like creating clubs that didn't exist and like doing the most, but nothing that was what I was supposed to be doing to get the grade at all, ever. So I feel like my parents knew I was a lost cause from like early on. I'm like, no, it's going to be, starving artist for me. But
I feel like I should clarify, overachiever does not have to mean like academically.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, but to the point of like, even thinking about working in a collaboration or as a group, I feel like, so I never had a jaded moment of, oh, I'm in a group and someone doesn't do as much or people don't care as much, because I feel like I just went on the offensive since I was a kid about that and just always assumed no one would want to like give as much as I want to. So I would just go ahead and do everything myself anyways. Like there was not even a moment where I let someone in and then they scarred me or like they didn't do their part. No, I embarrassingly enough, every time I made a home movie or something as a kid that I was trying to make a film, I would always have credits, but the credits had my friends' names, but they weren't in it. They didn't even know the movie existed. That was just because I was like, like when movies are made, you see credits, right? And it's like not the same person. And in this movie, it was me like acting every role in like stop motion, like kind of like stopping the camera, changing my outfit, going back. Cause this was even before like
early TikTok.
Right. This was like, before
TikTok on tape.
Stuff.
Christina invented TikTok.
Right. On VHS, there is evidence of me inventing TikTok. Look it up, guys. But yeah, so I feel like I was coming from a place where I just was, always thinking I'm going to have to do it myself regardless. So what made it easy when I met Alicia was I didn't have any preconceived notions of like, oh, sometimes, when I'm too enthusiastic, it like turns someone up, or just, I didn't have anything to go with. It was all new territory. So it was exciting. And then instantly seeing that her excitement was at the same level, it just felt like a safe space to begin with. I never felt like I was having to put on a persona of any kind, because like we were already vibing, like she said. And I feel like I wasn't really having any like trust issues or fear of anything like that, thankfully. But yeah. That makes sense.
Am I the only one, Ellie, that was waiting for the I just had my name in the credits?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was just going to be like Christina.
That's what our credits for the flame looked like.
To be fair, that's like, that still is happening to me. But less than usual.
Nice.
I love it.
I mean,
I really appreciate the commitment to your friends, though, to be like, you all get credit.
It's so
when this
embarrassing,
goes
though.
big, you know, when this is in theaters, you're all gonna get
are they going to get royalties or
yeah,
like
right?
how is this?
It was the worst.
There's a generosity.
Like my brother would watch it and be like, none of these people came to the house. Like calling me on it. I'm just like, no, I know that. You know, so
we outsourced.
Right.
We outsourced everything. We did it in school.
Right.
And then I did it.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure you credit them with like behind the camera stuff, you know. So it's like first AD, like operating the boom, something.
No, it was cast.
Oh no,
it was
just
bad.
you in a wig.
It was.
What the?
That's exactly what we're talking about here.
That's incredible.
I'm glad you're catching up to the degree of how embarrassing this is.
I really
need
want to
these
see
tapes
these
so badly.
Yeah, we need release the vault. This is what's happening. Come on.
No.
If Taylor can do it, you can do it.
Did anyone else make movies when they were a kid? No?
I did for like some school projects. I don't know that I did as many for like just for fun.
We used to do them. Me, my brother, and my sister, we would make them. And they were also just absolutely ridiculous.
I used to do
and so bad.
I had a friend that I grew up with, and we would like write and perform our own plays, like just the two of us, 2-woman show, you know. But we didn't film them. I don't know.
Were they musicals?
Honestly, cannot remember. They could have been. We both sang, so like they easily could have been musicals.
There was one that I just found the video for. I don't know why. I think it also was because I was working with my brother. They were so violent. Like they were like so violent. Like they were always like gang war movies. Like they were always like somebody got murdered and like we have to like figure out who got killed. We like murdered our dad and like there was like, you know, catch up and all this kind of stuff. But there's one scene, this is like the most embarrassing thing ever, and no one will ever see this either, but I was like the leader of the gang, and I don't know why I decided, like, as the gang leader, I was like, start the music. And I hit play on like, some sort of like tape recorder. And it was the song I Want Candy. Do you know that song?
That one?
Yeah, and I was
Amazing.
dancing to it. And then anytime like any of like, it was like my brother and some of his friends, like if they like weren't paying attention to me while I was dancing, I would shoot them.
This is iconic.
And,
wow.
And I was like, you're not a good like member of the gang if you're not paying attention to the leader dancing. Like that was what was happening.
Ellie, here's what I desperately want
to make
right
you
now.
feel better, Christina.
Here's what I desperately want, because I feel like we could also do like a huge personality vibe check on releasing the content of each of our like childhood school projects or like just for fun videos, because tell me what this tells you, Ellie, that the school project that I most vividly remember doing is you had to work in pairs, so I was working with one of my friends. It is occurring to me that both the friend I used to do the plays with and the friend I did this project with are both gay now. And most importantly, we did this project where we had to make videos about like parts of speech, but we landed on like, we are going to do our own like Schoolhouse Rock video. We wrote songs. Okay. So I wrote all of these horrible lyrics for all of these songs about like what is an adverb and like how do you know what an adverb does and all of these things. And then we recorded also on VHS these terrible like Schoolhouse Rock, but where it's like us holding like a little drawn out thing on a stick in the camera, you know. What does that tell you about where we are now? And
yep. I'm still like, if I'm dancing and you're not paying attention, like
exactly. but exactly. But like that's what I'm getting
You're gonna
at,
get
you
killed.
know?
Like I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I'm the
So
odd
I
person
guess-
out here. I don't have a tape to release.
Oh no.
I did not do any of that. I used to tell myself stories like before I went to bed, or when I was like, okay, it's time for bed, and I would run a movie. But it was a movie I was writing and creating and directing in my mind. And then every
So
night I
ambitious.
would pick up from like what's the next scene, and
Wow.
then I would just keep going until I finished that movie, and then I would create a new story. But I didn't that's the introvert, you know. I've come out of my shell a lot since then.
But this is what I'm saying. But it's like I think they all foreshadow something. I guess the real question is, Christina, did you play multiple characters with wigs?
I had outfits, wigs, hats. I played men. I played women.
Oh,
I
meant like in Out in Love. Like, are you all of the characters?
Oh, I played multiple characters in hats, in wigs. No, I'm kidding. No. No, I was actually, this is so cheesy to even admit, but when Out in Love was getting edited and I was talking to Hank, our editor, and we were like going through the credits and we are like adding all the names, I thought back to, you know, childhood me and how I had all these names of all these people who helped on this project and were just, you know, so stoked to be there and just amazing and made this dream come true. And I was like, they're legit, you know, real names. And it was kind of a moment for me where I was like, oh, well, look at that. Come a long way since faking it. So
I just feel like you're on a mission to make Ellie cry this episode, and I'm honestly a little surprised it hasn't happened yet.
From tears or from laughter,
both,
either
yeah.
way. Yeah.
that's my approach, you know, make them cry. No, that's not really my approach. I don't know why I said that. That's
Here's
so
how you
weird.
make friends and find collaborators, everyone.
Right. You get real creepy and you say
Yeah.
you make them cry. Oh boy.
Stare at movie posters and make people cry.
Right.
I just want someone somewhere taking notes on this episode, like writing
Oh my
this
God,
down.
no. No.
I also just like, I think it's a gift that we grew up in a VHS time.
Yeah.
Like, and not a digital time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because like, even if like I did, like my mom was going through all of our VHS tapes and we found this and we were like, oh my God, I cannot believe
Right.
this still exists. But I could burn it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I could get rid of it. Like no one could ever see it
You just
again.
like hit
if I
that with a
wanted to.
hammer, you know?
Right? Like,
yeah.
but I feel like I'm like, because I was like, oh, or maybe there are some kids who are doing this. I'm like, yeah, they are. Like they're literally doing it on social media.
I know. Yeah.
Like for everyone to see. Not just like, let me show it to my family and like we could joke about this later.
Yeah.
That is
no.
out.
There are two. The tapes, most of the tapes are missing, I think, on my end. My mom has some, but I'm really glad, you know, things like, you know, like I did some kind of, me and my brother did do like collaborations sometimes where begrudgingly my brother would be like, fine, I'll be in it. And one of them, which I'm sure he would hate if it was out there, was we did like this. So, you know, there was that teen show Dawson's Creek, like back in like the 90s, right? And I did Johnson's River, is what I called it.
Oh my God. Stop.
And basically, like, it was like a trailer for it. And like, I had the Paula Cole song, the I Don't Want to Wait song, like,
Oh my God.
playing.
This is
And
too
then it
much.
was like, and my brother was doing like the voice of like the In a World, that kind of like, where he was like, coming this summer, you know, kids finding their way. And then I would just like do
Oh
these
my
little moments.
God.
And then there was like this one shot for some reason that I decided because I was Johnson, you know, and so when I was Johnson, I would wear like my hair up in like a little like fisherman's hat. I don't know what was going on. And there was
Like
and
a
there was-
bucket hat?
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
there was this like clip where like I come out of my room and I'm wearing like a dress and I go, why won't you let me go to prom the way I really want to go? And then like I just start dancing to the I Don't Want to Wait song. And like my brother's just like, find the heart and the love, you know, like, in, like
Oh my God.
Johnson's River. And it's
So like you've always been writing gay shit is the point.
Oh my God.
even before I knew it. Yes. Wow.
Did you
I
say
had to
this
make that connection.
exists? Or it doesn't exist. This tape is lost.
I think the Johnson's River tape is lost for good.
No, we need it.
I'm
We
going
need
to talk to your
see it.
mom. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going
No.
to bypass you completely and go straight to your mom.
Well,
The source.
listen, can I tell you the thought that literally just occurred to me while we're having this conversation is
Oh,
my
boy.
parents sold their house, like the house that I lived in at the time of making all of these this year. And it's like just now occurring to me that like they sold their house and didn't want to like deal with a lot of stuff. So they definitely just like did an estate sale of a bunch of stuff in the house. And I'm like, did they...
Oh,
do
no.
those tapes just like exist in the wild now? Like, is somebody somewhere gonna find like my 7th grade like Schoolhouse Rock wannabe knockoff terrible songs? Because
It's out there, Lee.
so.
I'm
It's
not
already
sure
out
if
there.
that's like a nightmare or like just a hopeful dream of I don't know what.
The most wonderful gift ever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What a treasure to happen upon.
It's like those, like, you know, like the storage wars. Like, you don't need to find a storage
Yeah.
bin. And then you're like, what's in it? Like, that's what it is. Like, you
They
hit the
find
jackpot.
Johnson's River. Oh,
oh my god, I
Can we
want to find
return
Johnson's
this?
River.
No, you don't.
Christina, where'd you grow
Blockbuster
up?
sticker on it.
Where'd you grow up? Like, we're gonna need an exact address, please. Thanks.
Oh my God. Johnson's River. That is
Slovenia.
good.
Coming
We need the
next
reboot,
year,
remake it.
Johnson's
We need it.
River. I've already been thinking about it as she was talking.
Alicia's writing it in her head already. She's like, I've tuned all of you out. I'm just seeing a movie in my mind, and it is
Oh
beautiful.
boy.
It's coming. Johnson's
Oh,
River is
God.
coming.
That is so good.
Incredible.
I feel like we're gonna like be stuck in this sinkhole for a long time. So I'm gonna take
Right.
us out of it.
Right.
I'm speaking of projects that we've been creating.
Collaborations.
Yeah. Well, you said you've been working on like a million new projects. So like you worked on Out in Love. What's the new stuff that you're working on together?
Oh my goodness, so many things. It's very exciting. The first thing is a fiction podcast called Fuck My Afterlife, aka FMAL. We just wrapped the writer's room for that. Christina is the showrunner. And you know what? It's the story that I pitched at Klexicon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I really did come up with that in the middle of the night or the next morning or something like that.
Yeah, it was something
It was
crazy like that, where you're like, of course you did. Of course you just came up with this. Everyone else has worked on their pitch for, like months, years. Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know what this is, and I don't want to make it because I don't do comedy. But it's about a spoiled girl who gets into the pearly gates on a divine technicality, and she finds out that being an angel is a production-based job, and if she doesn't meet her numbers, she's going straight to hell. So we are super excited about that. And then we've got a feature that we're working on.
Yeah, we do.
Super excited. Someone just sent me the second draft today. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, they did.
Who?
Send me the second draft of the feature and the next draft of the pilot for the fiction podcast, because somebody has been on a tear, a writing tear.
Yeah. No, it's been great. Therapy
That's
does wonders.
Amazing.
Do you want to say what the feature is about?
Yeah. So super excited about this. And this hopefully can be shot 2022. I won't give a month, Alicia, because I know we disagree on when it could actually be done. But it's called Co-Stars. And it's basically two women who meet, two actresses who meet like on a student film, right? And basically start this crazy love affair. And it kind of goes through 10 years, like in vignettes of them re-meeting and like where they are in their careers and all of this stuff. And it's kind of bookended and like in between the vignettes with this interview, like a press tour, because they're on a big movie together now. And there's like, rumors and salacious gossip and all of this stuff going on. So it's juicy, queer content for us all, romance and drama and messiness and, all that good stuff. So I'm very excited.
I'm already into it.
Right?
Sign me up. Sign me up. Yeah, I want to watch that movie.
Right.
I mean, also, like, I feel like that you're going to put on this feature, right? And then there's going to be, like, these two actors. Who knows who they are? They're going to be like, how'd she know?
Right. It's true,
our
though.
story. It's our story.
Honestly, just to real quick, like I've wanted to write some kind of iteration of this idea for years now. And I don't know why I didn't tell Alicia about it sooner, but I just, I've always been, as an actor, like kind of obsessed with that whole, we get into these roles, into these characters where we're pretending to fall in love with someone else. And, if you have on stage chemistry, like that's even better. But the thing about pretending is that your whole body doesn't always know you're pretending. I mean, like in order to make something believable, you kind of have to put yourself into that position of falling for someone. And then you detach, the project's over and it's over. But there's just something I feel like actors, at least, celebrities or whatnot, never really talk about the nuance of that and how, maybe on purpose, I'm not sure, but like, it's kind of a mind fuck a little bit because it essentially, and that, that's like the beauty of acting, but there is something there. And so I just wanted to explore that in a bit of like, what that can do to you, like what, meeting someone in that capacity, but that can still, and then like, to the public, you're not going to be revealing all these things, but then, I don't know. It's interesting. I
love it. I just watched the Friends reunion the other day, and like, did you see that like Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer were like, yeah, we were in love with each other?
What? I did not watch. That's interesting.
And
during I am not surprised.
Right? And I'm like, yeah,
no,
that
I'm
makes sense.
surprised. Does it?
Here's the thing, though. That many years where you're like supposed to be in love with someone. It's not like we're superhuman just because we're actors. Like dividing that in your brain, you can, reconcile it and boundary it as much as possible. But sometimes things bleed and you can't help it. It's hard to like turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. And so I would imagine that, especially stars who work together for like 10 years on a show, or, you know what I mean? Or 7 years, and they're like playing spouses and things like that. There has to be some kind of love, and maybe it fluctuates, and maybe not exactly romantic love or love that gets acted upon, but love is love is what they say.
Love is love is love. No, yeah. I mean, they literally were like, yeah, we never acted on it. Like we set clear boundaries, but like we definitely had crushes on each other. And they were like, yep, we did. Like, just like, yep, totally.
Super casual,
normal. And like, yeah, but it makes sense.
I misunderstood that.
Excited about the film.
I thought you were saying they were in a secret love affair for this whole time.
No. No, they were like, yeah, we've been sleeping with each other for 25 years.
We've been married for a long time now. Yeah.
That's what I understood.
No. They were just saying like they had feelings for each other that they never acted on. Yeah.
That they tell us, but anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, Jen. We don't want to blow your smoke.
I know. Oh my God. Please, I am not trying to make an enemy with Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston, well-known Let's Hang Out, diehard listener and fan.
Thank you for your support, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks, Jen.
I cannot.
I only drink smart water. Almost exclusively. So, Jen, I'm on your side.
Ellie, we're getting you. We're finally getting you. I seeing
know.
it.
The tears. Yeah, the laughter tears.
It's happening.
Is there anything else we want to say about collaborations? Like for anyone in our audience who's like either like looking to collaborate, or I feel like also a good advice would be like, what do you do? Like a collaboration is always going to change. Like how do you like navigate the changes in your collaboration? And then we will go to our Q&A.
Has our collaboration changed, do you think, over the past couple of years?
I don't think so. I mean, I think if anything, it's changed in a way where it's even more comfortable. Like, I feel like initially receiving feedback was just it was just a different experience. I felt more like it was, Alicia would give me feedback. I'd have to, dig a hole in the yard and then like sit in there and like consume all of these thoughts and feelings and be like, I'm the worst writer. And then like come back out and then be like, yeah, no, it's great. Made some changes. But now I feel like it's all just, it doesn't feel as I don't know, it doesn't feel as difficult to talk those things through sometimes, because, like all writers, we're sensitive about our work, but now I feel more like, okay, we can talk through feedback, and immediately I'm just rolling with, okay, that's great. Like now I understand this. And so if anything, I just feel like communication has gotten better because we know each other better, right? Would you say?
And I think
hope
because
so.
we trust each other.
Right.
So now my feedback is more direct.
Yeah.
Before, I put a lot more thought into how I would give feedback because I knew it was going to be a thing, right? And so it was like, I definitely put a lot more thought into how I would deliver information. Whereas now I feel more comfortable in just being like, yeah, no, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a thing. It's like, I don't like this, but like, let's talk about it. Let's see what is it that's not catching me. And let's see if we can figure that out and work on it together. And we can just quickly have that conversation. And it's true because, Christina doesn't have to go away and like process feelings and come back.
Right. Yeah.
It's
and much faster now.
It's much faster, but that's just because the trust has increased.
Yeah.
Whereas, granted, she still thinks that everything she sends me is terrible.
I mean,
but that's just how some writers are, but
writers.
It's like, oh, I thought you were going to hate it. I've literally never hated anything she sends me. But I understand that that's what the communication style is, and we can move through it a lot faster now.
I would say, as far as earlier in the conversation, I know we had talked about, well, how do you find a collaborator, right? And there's like no real answer of like, how do you create this chemistry? But I did want to say, I think a big part of it is talking about what you're doing to anyone and everyone. I mean, because something that I realized with just a lot of advice I received over the years and all that is that if you're not talking about the things that you want to be doing and working on, how are you going to stumble upon that person? Because if you keep it all to yourself and you're like, you just have all these creative secrets and, you don't, they're so precious to you and you're so in your head of like, well, I don't want to talk someone's ear off about the story I want to do or this and that, then no one will know. And yeah, some people might just not be the ones and just kind of be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go get another drink. Bye. But then some person in the room or that you meet somewhere might be the person who's like, tell me more, which is who Alicia was for me. And so talking about it. And another thing I would say is put yourself in places where you're likely to meet like-minded people. Whether, for us, it was Clexicon, specifically a creator lab where I knew anyone I meet in these walls is someone who's trying to create just like me. So that's going to be step one. Or if there's not something like that in your town or where you live, nowadays there's so many like virtual kind of like mixers and things for creators and like meetups that you can find online or just, look for events, even after I met Alicia, in order to crew up for Out in Love or just to find other people who could possibly like help us out with it. I was looking for events all the time of just any kind of like filmmaker meetup or this and that, just to like talk to people and chat about the project and see, whose eye I catch or not. And so you cannot create that whole lightning in a bottle of the perfect partnership, but you can definitely find it a lot easier if you're putting it out there. And it's like that whole, like, if you're ready for love, love will find you.
Be open to the universe.
But you know why I love it? Because like, all I could think of the whole time that you were saying that is like the way that we do keep kind of talking about this like it's dating. But I just keep thinking where it's like, yeah, like there's plenty of fish in the sea, but like if you're not fishing at all, like that doesn't matter. Yeah. Like you have to put yourself out there. And I think that is like, that's great advice, I think, for people to like keep in mind is I'm flashing back to like we had an episode earlier this season with Cheyenne Lynn, who also did a fiction podcast, and same thing, like met a writing partner while they were on a date, I think was the story that we heard.
Oh, wow.
Which is just wild, but yeah, if you're not the person who's just kind of constantly dropping your
talking
project or your interest out there, like you'll never know, you could miss that opportunity to find like your perfect writing partner. So
I will say that another thing that actually changed a bit is like at the beginning of a partnership, accountability is very important. And having that same level of commitment, talking about it is great, but what does it look like in practice?
Right.
You know, and Christina and I used to meet regularly.
Yeah.
For a while, we met every Saturday and had a writer's room. And we weren't necessarily talking about the same project every Saturday, but we were talking about something. And it was all about progressing our goals forward. And now we actually don't meet every Saturday. We haven't met every Saturday in a while. It's more like if we just need to have a meeting so that we can organize, then we do that.
Yeah.
But we can work separately without having to check in so often with each other, because we know what we're doing and we're comfortable with. Like, I know what my role is. She knows what her role is. And we can come together, get it done, move apart, get our separate things done, and keep the train moving in that way.
I think the consistency is such a huge thing too with creative projects. Like, because you're being like, okay, let's do this huge thing and we're going to do it a year from now. If you meet every single week for a year, you're going to have a lot more done.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it's going to work. Like, even just like Leah and I were like, let's start a podcast. And pretty much every single Wednesday night, I like never don't see Lee. Like every week.
And she's not sick of me yet, everyone.
Not yet. No, never. We meet every single week, even if like, we usually have guests on, but like if we didn't get a guest scheduled, we're like, you know what? We're still going to meet and we're still going to like record this thing and do this thing. And like we take some time off like on holidays and stuff like that. But being consistent, it's like, we're like, holy shit, how did we finish a musical? How did we have all of these podcast episodes? It's literally just like week by week that it piles up, right? So like I think that also is really helpful, hopefully, to the people who are listening, of like just do like an hour or two a week and like see where it goes from there. And then of course, like when you're in production, you're going to be doing longer days and stuff like that. But like start small and consistent, and I feel like you'll be surprised at how much you can get done.
But I think it also gets to that idea of like trust that I think both of you were saying, that when we started, like I think Ellie and I had been used to doing so many projects where it's like, people would just flake out all the time. And so when you set that, like you set your schedule to start out, and then we would both always show up, always be there, and it's like even today where it's like I glanced over at a message from Ellie at one point saying like, no, I'm not feeling so great, like, and you followed it up with like, but of course, like, I'm still good to record. And I was like,
I literally was like, I'm going to take a 2-hour nap, but I'll see you later.
Like, do you need to clarify that for me? Because like, we've been doing this for a long time now. Like it doesn't even like cross my mind anymore to like be concerned about like, is
something
this somebody that I
done,
can depend on? Like, do we have that level of trust in each other and stuff? And, I think that like, as you gain that comfort and that trust, that like that's really too when stuff can start to like take off. I just love it. This episode's so beautiful.
I know. I literally was just gonna be like, we're all awesome. I'm glad we met it. We met all of every person on here. I'm glad we have all met each other.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's do this. We're gonna go into our Q&A. I'm ready.
Q and gay.
Question number 1. Have you met a collaborator at a convention or another event? A, yes, or B, no?
A.
Yes.
Yes. Right?
I'm guessing that's a yes.
Are you telling us or asking us, Christina? I wasn't clear.
Why do I feel like I'm going to fail this?
There is no way to fail a Q&A. I
literally always have to give people the spiel before. Like every person is like, "What?"
There's no wrong answers.
Okay.
They're just fun polls for fun.
It's okay.
Question 2, how do you prepare for social networking events? A, research how to meet people. B, stress. C, drink. Or D, print out movie posters.
I feel attacked. E.
Can I say A and B?
Sure. You can get multiple choice answers in a way that our Twitter poll voters cannot. So that's the real special part of being on the episode.
Yes. All right. Question number 3.
Wait. We didn't hear Christina's answer.
Oh, she said E, none of the above or something.
Oh, okay, that's fine. E, I feel attacked. Valid.
I feel
answer.
attacked. Yeah, that was the answer. All right, question number 3. What strengths do you bring to a collaboration? A, big dreams. B, great planning. C, detail-oriented. Or D, dependable.
E, all of the above.
I love that we're just making our own.
You make your own rules, and we
You
respect
it's
that.
fine.
You know.
Yeah. Writers.
Right. I'll go with A on this one. A, big dreams.
Nice.
Yeah, they're both like, we have some notes on these answers. Okay, fine.
Can we actually
You'll get them in an
send
email.
revisions?
Right.
Yeah.
Question.
I don't want to place boundaries on myself.
Right.
Question 4. Are you an A, astrology gay, B, vibes gay, C, spiritual gay, or D, other? And yes, I wrote this question just because I want people to tell me, you know? What are the other choices?
Vibes. Spiritual.
I like it.
Okay. I would say A and B for me. Astrology vibes. Astrology vibes.
Fair.
That's my new
astrology
app.
vibes gay. All right, question number 5. We all know the answer to this one. Did you make embarrassing childhood VHS content? A, yes, or B, no?
A, yes, as we know.
I'm the only safe space here. There's no VHS tapes coming back to haunt me in my adult life.
I will
so
find your
jealous of
secret.
We'll find something. Yeah, you gotta
I will
dig it
find
out.
it.
I mean, I did dance routines. We didn't record them, but there was choreography.
Eek.
You know,
Why would you not record them?
Because as a child, even I knew better.
You're like, no, there will be no record of this.
Smart.
Get the camera out of my face. Amazing. Remember, for all of you out there, you can give us your own answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod. Christina and Alicia, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I just love spending time with you. It's so fun.
This was awesome.
This was great.
So fun.
Where can all of our listeners find you on social media accounts?
I am at Christina with a K Pupo, Pupo, on every account. And Out in Love does have a social media at Out in Love Series if you just want to give us some love. And Alicia?
I am at Alicia the Great. That's on everything. And there's also Canon is Ours Now, which is the social media for my production company, Canon Divergence.
Love it. And people, where can people still can't watch Out in Love, right?
No, it is currently being shopped out there to hopefully someone will pick this up.
Are you listening, DreamWorks? Come on.
Okay, so eventually people will be able to watch Out in Love when it's out on Netflix or up on a major TV network.
Right.
We're ready for it. We're so here for it. Any other projects coming up? You said you're working on your podcast as well, right? Do you know when that's going to release, or like you don't have the timeline on that?
No timeline yet. So we're still finessing the scripts. So I expect next year at some point, but I can't be more specific than 2022.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's going to be a big year.
And this feature that we're going to shoot, someone in this chat wants to shoot it in the summertime, which is absurd.
It's me. She means me.
Yeah. Right.
Amazing. So Christina will be doing an Instagram story takeover the week of this episode. If you have any questions to ask her all about Johnson's River or all of the projects they have coming up, you can ask her on her Instagram. Christina and Alicia, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
What a blast.
This was so much fun.
Really great. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you, and we love continuing to build this community, so we just like to shout out some of our favorite things every episode. And this week, we want to shout out an email that we got from a listener. So shout out to Jen, who emailed us that they had recently rewatched Imagine Me and You. I love it. Never a bad time to rewatch Imagine Me and You. And wanted to know if any if anybody in the media had discussed the movie and found our episode on it.
We're in the media and we discussed it.
We are the media. We is the media, and we discussed the movie and that they loved our episode. And we're so glad that you found it, that you loved it. And, we hope you enjoy all the rest of them too.
Oh, yeah. As always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Jess Klaus,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jacqueline Rose Nishino,
Sarah and Julia,
Danny Gunlock Tamura,
Brittany Ray,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
Stacy,
Adi Benitez,
Fiona W.,
Whitney Lennon,
Jennifer Trujillo,
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Leah Henley, Julia Gonzalez,
and Ashley White. Thank you all so much. We have so many of you, and we love you all so much. We love getting to know you in our Discord chat, and we could not do the podcast without you.
Remember, you can find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com if you want to be featured on a Hip Hip We're Gay.
Or you can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
And make sure that you are caught up on The Flame. All of the episodes are up, available on any app you use to listen to podcasts. And you'll wanna catch up because we are hard at work on our next musical. You do not want to miss out.
We're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
If you want to help support the podcast, there are so many ways that you can do that. The first that is easy and free is to go on the Apple Podcasts app and leave us a rating and a review. A, it helps new people find the podcast, and B, we like reading the reviews.
If you want to support us financially and join our Patreon family to get some behind-the-scenes access to our show, you can do that at bit.ly/lespatreon. We have all kinds of perks for our patrons, like ad-free episodes and watch parties for our Les Essentials, and our favorite patron-only Discord where we get to chat.
We also have a Patreon that is dedicated just to our production of podcast musicals and helping get The Flame on stage. You can find that at bit.ly/theflamepatreon if you want to help us make more musicals.
If you want to get some Let's Hang Out merch, you can get that at bit.ly/lesshop. We have all kinds of designs that you can put on mugs and t-shirts and sweatshirts, all the good stuff.
And you can follow us individually. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee. And let's
hang
out
again
soon.
Let's hang out.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to speak of them or talk about them or in any way portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. It would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.